Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Mega Reed here, and welcome back to another toy review by yours truly, and to part 5. Hang on, 5, my whole hand there, of the Ultimate Beyblade Burst Collection review. So, last time I left you guys off with this mystery Beyblade here. And this is going to be the Beyblade we're going to start with today. So let's get started here. Starting with Buster Excalibur here. Now, Buster Excalibur is obviously enough. If you haven't seen in the last part, part 4, this is the evolution of Sieg Excalibur, which we're going to bring in real quick here for comparison. So as you can see, focus, there we go. They have the two Beyblades there. So, really nice to see. Now, this is, again, the Hasbro version. So, the name of this is, well, Buster Excalius, respectively. So, there you go. So, the whole gimmick behind this Beyblade, because it does have a gimmick in this mode, or in this layer anyway, which, let's go look at it on its own. So, as you can see, focus, really nice detail there. We got some nice dragon heads picked out there. We got the little pointy bits here, and we got the little flame kind of details going around. Looks really nice. And the gimmick of this one, which, yeah, isn't exactly the best, but at the same time, it's still a pretty neat gimmick, is you push down the button here, which on my version is actually really difficult to push down, so I need the disc to actually do it. There you go, and as you can see, the sword has moved into its Buster mode. Now, if you were a common viewer, which most of you probably are, then you'd think that this is kind of stupid, right? But to be honest, it actually does a lot more than you'd think. Since you see this little gray bit here, that is actually die-cast metal there. So basically that adds an additional weight. It basically makes it so Excalibur gets an extra little bit of oomph in its slashing when it's in this mode. And as you can see from the side profile, you can see how the sword pops out. As you can see, and also from the bottom, how it pops out. Again, it doesn't do very much, but the little bit it does do, it actually makes it much more powerful. So, locking it back up with the disc here, just push the button on the back, so you see this little, like a little blue focus. Focus camera. Look at the button, there you go. Little button right there, we can just push it in, and it will actually push in. There we go. Now it's back in its regular default mode. So there you go. Sieg Excalibur, or Buster Excalibur, my apologies. Buster Excalibur, very nice layer here. Now next up in this release, at least for Hasbro, you would normally get the 1 dash disc. Now if the camera would focus again, focus, there we go. The 1 dash disc is obviously enough the upgrade of the previous Sieg Excalibur's 1 disc, which I will bring in for comparison. So let me just get it real quick and get the 1 disc off of it, so you can see the difference between those two. So as you can see, the points here are much more defined, and also this bit up top is changed pretty much entirely. So there you go, 1 dash disc, very nice. Now, since I do have the Takara Tomy triple pack that actually came with a part exclusive to this, which was the same set that happened to come with the previously shown Hazard Kirbyus and, wait, have I shown you guys it yet? No, I'm not going to. Well, it comes with a Beyblade called Woolborg as well. It's another Plastic Generation remake Bey, but we're going to look at that one later. But still, even with that, it comes with this nice frame that you can get as well. This is the dagger frame. Now, as I said before, it is obviously sold separately, though I did manage to get a hold of it. It is kind of a hard to get part nowadays, but I did manage to get a hold of it. So there you go. Now the one dash and dagger frame both work with the layer here. Now, just like the previous versions, when it gets closer to bursting, if you have the disc aligned properly, like so, it'll slide like this, and the dagger frame and the disc will both line up perfectly with the sword, basically making for a triple strike gimmick there, which in practice actually does a lot better than you'd think. Because of the weight of that metal, it definitely adds some oomph to the attack. So I really do like how they retain this gimmick even with the fourth iteration of the Beyblade. So really nice to see. And then last but not least, we do get the driver, which I think has a really fitting name. The driver is simply enough just called Sword. That's all it is. It's just Sword. So I really do like the driver. As you can see, if the camera would focus, focus, there we go. You can actually see that there are little sword hilts detailed onto the sides here. Now because this is Slingshot, this would normally actually be a metal tip, and the sword hilts would both be real die-cast metal as well. So the gimmick with this is basically you push the button, and the swords will come down, basically making the tip more flat, thus making for more aggressive aggressive movement. There we go. And then we just simply enough push the button back here again, comes back up. So that's how that works. So that is Buster Excalibur. Almost called it Sieg again, but there you go. Very nice Beyblade. I'm really glad to have it. Again, wish I had the Takara Tomy version, but if I can get a hold of it, I'll definitely show it off for review, because that one is far superior than their US counterpart. Oh, and also you may notice that there's some paint chips there, but, you know. You're not going to really notice that if you looked, you know, hard, if you don't look too hard at it. So next up, I'm going to take a look at the Wyvern lineage that I've been talking about in the previous parts, starting with the burst version, which is simply titled Wyvern. There you go. So this is it. This is the first version of Wyvern. So as you can see, looks very, very nice. Now again, because of the weak slopes on this one, I did have to super glue it. But other than that, before the slopes got really crap on me, this was one of the most top-tier defense types of the burst system. And as you can see, the Wyvern there, you can see the dragon head, and you can see like the little spikes going around. Now I've read online that the Japanese version, actually these spikes were actual rubber or something like that, which is kind of interesting. I don't know why Hasbro didn't do that, but you know, what are you gonna do? So there you go. Here you have Wyvern, very simplistic layer. Now with this, you also do get the armed disc as well, and you also do get the massive driver here, which I don't know if I showed it off before, but if I haven't, I'll just explain it quickly what it does. So if the camera would focus, there we go. It has this little ball-like tip there, as you guys can see, and the whole point of it is basically to create as little friction with the stadium as possible, and also supposed to help with absorbing attacks, as the round shape can help it easily recover from any attack that gets thrown at it. But again, due to the poor slopes, before I actually modified this, yeah, it was pretty crap. So, but now it could definitely hold its own. So there you go. There you have Wyvern there. Very, very nice. So next off from the previous evolution we were looking at before, in the dueler system, we got an upgrade of Wyvern. That being, well, simply enough, I think we already looked at it before, haven't we? No, we looked at its God evolution. We haven't looked at its second evolution, which I'm going to show right now. This is Wild Wyvern. So, as you can see, camera focus, there we go. As you can see, Wild Wyvern, as you can see to its comparison with its previous version, it's a lot more aggressive this time. I think the Wild subname, I think, fits perfectly for this, as this does look pretty crazy. As you can see, in the middle, we do have a W, which is obviously enough for Wild Wyvern. We do have the wings of the Wyvern coming around the top and the bottom corners of the W there. And we can see the dragon head right there. Camera focus on it. We do got the eye and the teeth there, which look very, very nice. We got these little spikes going around, which again, very nice detail. And yeah, all in all, very, very cohesive color scheme here. Really do like the purple. So there you go. And that is the layer Wild Wyvern. Oh, and also just to preface that that Excalibur was, again, just like last time, he's still an attack type, and Wyvern is still, well, yeah, it's still a defense type. So yeah, hasn't changed types or anything. So don't have to worry about that. Now with this, we get the debut of the vertical disc, which I already talked about before. So nothing really new here. So yeah. Alright, and then we get the massive driver again with this particular release for Hasbro, and it is in, focus, orange. Focus. There we go. So yeah, nice and orange there. So there you go. So that is Wild Wyvern. And again, the original release for Japan did come with the Orbit driver, but we will see that with a later recolor of Death Scyther. So stay tuned for that. And it's going to be in a nice green color too. So, and lastly, for the Wyvern line, at least for now, unless, Super King or whatever next season we get gives this an upgrade. And that goes for any Beyblade here. That any Beyblade here could get an upgrade, could get an evolution in the next season. So that's kind of the thing with Beyblade, is that basically what we're looking at now might actually change in the next few years, maybe even months. So yeah, because that's how Beyblade is. But anyway, moving on. So for the last evolution of the Wyvern line, at least for now, we will be taking a look at Tornado Wyvern. Now, this is its original version. In this particular, this is the English release, which was named Tempest Wyvern in the US. And it is obviously still a defense type. So as you can see with its original color compared to Wild Wyvern, which I'm going to grab real quickly. For comparison. Oof, almost dropped it. But there you go. There you have the two there. So you can see, much more aggressive this time around. This one's somewhat aggressive. This one just crazy, just bonkers all over the place. So, again, just like its prior versions, we can see the dragon aesthetic going on with it. As you can see, we got the wings there, which are reminiscent of the previous Wyvern, which had those kind of wing-like protrusions on it. We do have the little spikes going around like Wild Wyvern. And we also do have the dragon head there, which these little accents kind of make it look like it's actually breathing fire, which is kind of cool. So even though the actual avatar instead breathes shock waves or some kind of sound wave. Weird. Anyway, so the whole gimmick with this one, as we saw with the previous recolor, which let me bring it up for comparison. There you go. There is the recolor. So you can see differences there. We do have the spinning disc gimmick, which I described in previously as this being a very effective gimmick, and it does do a lot for the Beyblade. Plus, it just looks cool. So there you go. Now, with this Beyblade, we obviously do get, well, not obviously, we do get the return of the 4 disc, and we also get a return of the glaive disc. Now, actually, with this particular version of Wyvern, the original release, this was the debut of the atomic driver. And in this version, it is, fittingly enough, green and purple. There you go. Purple disc, green ball. I already shared my thoughts on this with, Arc Bahamut. Or in the, well, that's the Japanese, but the English name, I don't know if I said it before, was called Arc Balkesh. So, there you go. So, yeah, there you go. There you have that. Then the next Beyblade here is kind of an interesting one, because this was, like, because you guys remember Air Knight from, part 2 or 3? Remember this guy? This is the recolor version I showed you earlier. Yeah, this was the first kind of version of this, for lack of better terms. And the upgrade, which is quite different here, is Maximum Garuda. So here he is. You know, Maximum Garuda is obviously enough based on the Garuda, the Firebird in I believe it's, which mythology is it? I believe it's Mayan mythology again. I might be wrong about that. Let me actually look it up real quick just to make sure I'm not wrong. Of what mythology that's from. The Garuda. Where is that from? Asian symbols, let's see. Garuda mythology. There we go. Okay, what mythology is it from? It's from Hindu mythology. Wow, I was completely off. Okay, so it's from Hindu mythology. My apologies. So, but basically it's the same thing as the Phoenix, essentially. So there you go. It's just the, I guess, the Hindu interpretation of the same character. So there you go. But anyway, Maximum Garuda does look really nice in this bright yellow and blue. And the whole gimmick behind this layer is that of its very round shape. As you guys can see, just like the later release Air Knight, they are both very, very, very round. And both of them feature the similar gimmick of having these little wings here, which you may see kind of look like helicopter blades. And that was completely intentional, as the whole gimmick, just like Flugel, was to channel air in the layer and to make it spin faster and to have less friction with the stadium floor, that's creating more stamina. Now, obviously enough, it doesn't actually do that. It actually creates more drag than anything. But still, somehow, this thing does get some nice spin times out of it. So, there you go. And as you can see, if you look really close here, on the side, you'll see that it's not completely round, as there is a little hump right here that actually is the main point of contact. And funny enough, on the Japanese version, this thing had only one tooth or one click on it, unlike Hasbro, which doesn't have any teeth at all, obviously. But even still, because of its round shape, it makes it very, very, very difficult to burst, as even in Super King, this thing cannot be bursted. So, yeah, pretty overpowered Beyblade. Oh, and also in the cartoon, this Beyblade could fly. Which obviously in real life, it doesn't do, because if it did, oh boy, that thing would obviously promote a safety hazard, so... Good job on you, Hasbro TT, for not making this thing actually fly, because that would be a definite safety hazard, my god. But there you go. So the layer out of the way, which here's the back of the layer as well, so you can see. Maximum Garuda there, very nice. We do get the 8 and Flow disc here, which I believe the Flow frame actually debuted with Maximum Garuda, which is nice. Now, if it did have the Takara version, I'll show that one here too, but because it was released in a random booster, yeah, it's quite hard to get these days, as it can fetch pretty high prices online, so that's why I got the Hasbro version, which is way, way more affordable. So there you go. 8 and Flow, very nice there with the blue there, which really nicely accents the blue chip on the layers, so I do like that. So there you go. And lastly, we do get to see the umpteenth release of the Flugel driver. This time in a very bright yellow. There we go. Very, very bright yellow. I mean, my god, the lights of my window are making this thing look extra shiny. So bright, so bright. It's a golden driver. Oh my god. So, again, it's nice to see in yellow, unlike the original release on, or at least the debut with Blaze Ragnarok, which was obviously enough orange. So there you go. Nice to see. So that is Maximum Garuda. Really nice Beyblade. Really do like the fact that it is really big. Now, for comparison, we're going to bring in the OG Valkyrie from the first episode of this miniseries. So you can see, it just absolutely devours it. My god, it just eats Valkyrie for breakfast. So there you go. Poor little Valkyrie. Outclassed by a Phoenix, wow. Now, next up here, we're actually going to be taking a look at some recolors, so let's briefly get into them. Starting with God Valkyrie here. Now, just like the previous God Valkyries, the same pretty much applies here, except now it is gold. Now, in particular, I got this in the Championship Clash set that came out towards the end of the Godler system. There we go. The Evolution system. Slingshot. Not Slingshot. Switch Strike system in the US is the name for it. So there you go. Nice to see it in this nice gold paint with the red chip, the gold eyes, and the golden wings. Again, same gimmick still applies here, so that hasn't changed. With this, we also get to see the 6 and Vortex frame, which is always nice to see. So, and this time it's actually, I believe, a somewhat more translucent red, but when I've compared this to previous Valkyries, or God Valkyrie versions, it doesn't actually seem to really have changed much, but could just be me. It does look a little bit of a brighter red, so there you go. And lastly, we do also get the reboot driver in this really nice gold color, which if the camera would focus. 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 Focus! Oh my god. Okay, there we go. So you can see. Same gimmick still applies where the driver changes, so that gimmick's still retained. So there you go. Well, the issue I really have with this God Valkyrie is that, just like other kind of Beyblades in my collection, the slopes on it are starting to get a bit worn out. So, might have to modify this, like most of my Beyblades in my collection here, but hey, what are you gonna do? So, there you go. Plus, I really ever customize my Beyblades anyway, so it's not really a problem there. So next we're going to take a look at, again, another recolor, that being Christ Satan here. And again, coming from the same set, the Championship Clash set, it is in this really nice gold, which does look really nice. And unlike my previous Satan, which I've actually modified, this one, the slopes are actually still okay, which is really nice. Oh, also, I like how they changed the rings from red to gold, which, again, I will bring in Christ Satan, the original, for comparison, so you can see the color change there of each. There you go. So you can actually see the differences in the color. So, there you go. Now, the reason why I didn't do it with God Valkyrie is just because, you know, you kind of already seen what the original one looks like. It's just most of what was like yellow and red and stuff was just changed to gold, so that's why I didn't show the comparison there. But anyway, so there you go. Really nice to see Christ Satan return for the final time for the US release. Also, again, we do get to see the 2 engraved disc return, which I don't know if I said in the previous parts, but the glaive frame did debut with Christ Satan, so there you go. And lastly, we do get to see the loop driver, which obviously enough debuted with Christ Satan. So, and this time instead of being black, the camera would focus, there we go. It is in this nice gold color, which looks really nice. And again, still has the spinny wheels on it, which is really cool. So there you go. There you have that. So really nice version of Christ Satan here. Oh, and also, I don't even know if you noticed, but the chip is a slightly lighter purple instead of the dark purple like on the original. So there you go. Next up here, you're going to be taking a look at 2 other recolors that come from the Shadow Snake Pit Stadium set. Which, funny enough, for Hasbro was actually not that advertised, so it was a real big surprise when they actually, when this actually popped up in stores, as there was literally no advertisement for this. Besides, of course, Beyblade YouTubers, but that's besides the point. There was very little advertising for this, which was kind of weird. But anyway, moving right into it, we're going to be taking a look at, if I haven't taken apart, silly me, hang on, there we go. This is Killer Death Scyther, and this in particular is actually based on the anime exclusive Shadow Death Scyther, which, for comparison, here we will bring in the original, so you can see why it's called the Shadow version. And I really like how this one looks compared to the Japanese color scheme, since we do get to see the double strike gimmick return with the scythe. And we do get to see a nice silver chip, and I love the black and red. It just looks really cool. It looks like the scythe is actually stained in blood, which, again, looks so cool. I really like how this looks. So there you go. There is the Killer Death Scyther recolor. I love this version. It's so cool looking. And it's nice to actually get something that was actually based on a very obscure Bey that actually appeared in the anime. So nice to see. Well, the anime had the same name, I should say. Now with this, since this is kind of a custom combo, we do get to see the 8 engraved disc return. This time glaive is in, focus. It's in a nice sort of like silverish platinum kind of color, which there we go, looks really nice. So I do like that. And then lastly, we do get the Nothing Driver, which debuted with Fafnir, but we get a return of it here. Now, I don't think I've showed this off before, so here it is. And the Nothing Driver, well, actually does have a gimmick, even though the name would say otherwise. So the whole gimmick behind it, if the camera would focus, which of course it isn't, oh, there we go. You see this little part right here, this part actually is spring-loaded. So you can push it in and it kind of moves like a button, as you can see. Now, the whole reason why it does this is the whole point is that it's supposed to absorb attacks from other directions. So say the Beyblade is coming in from this kind of, like it's coming up on a side here. And like the Beyblade's pushing on it and attacking it harshly. The tip can actually push in to absorb the attack. And because of the flatness of the driver, it can actually come back around and smack right back into it, delivering an attack back. So kind of cool gimmick there, if nothing. And actually, the Japanese version actually had a taller kind of inner part here, which Hasbro's is actually shorter, which actually makes Nothing actually better than Takara Tomi's. So this is a rare instance where the Hasbro's design is design changes actually improved on the original Takara designs. So there you go. Good job, the U.S. Good job, U.S. release, beating out Japan in their own game. So there you go. Cal Death Scyther, really, really cool. Now next up, I'm going to show off a recolor, another recolor in here, which I think actually fits the aesthetic of the Shadow Snake Pit a bit better than the Death Scyther does. This is Legend Spriggan. Now, well, recolor. So, nice to see it in this, obviously, snake-based color scheme, with the green and the lime green and the dark green and the red. Now, I kind of, fondly call this the Hulk Spriggan recolor, because it looks like the Incredible Hulk, doesn't it? So, I do like it. And the axe, instead of being gold, is now this very flashy silver. So I do like that. Now for comparison, we are going to bring in the original Legend Spriggan, so you can see just how drastic of a color change this is. Now, just like the other Spriggan, it does have the left and right rotation on it, which I'm not going to show here because I already showed it with Legend Spriggan in part 1. So there you go. And with this, we also get to see the return of the 4 and cross frame. This time again in this nice kind of platinum silver color, which I do like. And lastly, we do get to see the return of the guard driver, this time in black. Same gimmick applies, and so there you go. It's nice to see it in black too. Nicely accents the black of the layer. So there you go. There you have Legend Spriggan recolor. Really, really nice. So next up here, we're actually going to be taking a look at some more recolors / copies. So here we have my second copy of Beat Kukulkan. Now again, I did say before that I actually do have 2 copies of the same Beyblade. So as you can see, here's my original version, and with the bottom one, obviously enough, being the second copy. So you can see there. Again, same kind of thoughts apply here, same gimmick applies, except the slopes are a lot tighter on this one since it is newer. And actually the gimmick works a lot better because it's newer, so I'll give it that. And again, same thoughts still apply for the disc and the frame, 7 under, which we do get. Same thing, literally same thing. And you also get the same driver in the same colors. So nice to see. And also what's going on, Art Bricks, welcome to the stream. So there you go. There you have my second copy of Beat Kukulkan. Now moving on to the recolor version of it from the Championship Clash set, we will next be taking a look at Beat Kukulkan Gray. Literally, it's the same Beat Kukulkan, except now it's in this really nice platinum gray, gold, and this really weird kind of green color, which I do like. Now, for comparison, we're going to bring in version 1 of the original color Beat Kukulkan, so you can see just how drastic the color changed. If I can actually show the entire layer there. There we go. So you can see them there. So there you have that. Now the same gimmick still applies, where when it gets halfway, the little wings will pop out. So there you go. Same gimmick applies there. And we also do get the same parts, 7 under. And under actually is now, instead of being a kind of pinkish purple, it's now an actually darker purple, which I do like. It's a very subtle color change, as the camera doesn't really pick it up that well, I don't think. But the color does change a lot there. Now, actually, let me get the original disc there so you can see. Again, the camera's not going to really pick this up, but this is a slightly darker purple, which I do like. So, there you go. And then lastly, we do get the driver, which is Hunter again, now in this nice silver with, oddly enough, nice silver rubber too, which, if the camera would focus, does look really, really nice. I really do like this. And also you can see a little symbol on the back for Hunter, so there you go. So really nice to see. And personally, out of the 2 Kukulkans, I like this one better. Just because I like that. I just love how that gold gray and that odd green actually make Kukulkan look just that much bit cooler. So I do like that one a lot better. I do dig it. Now, again, as I said before, with Beat Kukulkan, I do have multiple copies of Beyblades. Why? Because, well, first of all, I just need to keep extra versions on me, so just in case the bays break, that I have another copy. And second, sometimes when my parents go out, like, sometimes they'll buy me Beyblades, and they happen to end up being copies. But again, to be nice, I keep them on hand. Because, hey, Because it's always good to have an extra Beyblade, right? Because these Beyblades do have a tendency to break after a while. I mean, especially if you've watched videos online of Beyblade battles, you can see why I have copies. So here we have my copy of Nightmare Longinus from part 1 or 2? Part 1, I believe. Yeah, it's from part 1. So there you go. Actually, no, it's from part 2. Who am I kidding? It's part 2. So there you go. Same gimmicks and thoughts here still apply. So as the gimmick, where when you slide it, it comes apart, and as it gets closer to bursting, it gets stronger, just like I said before, so really nice to see. And we do get the Destroy Driver with this one as well. Literally same color, same thing. So there you go. Now next up, we're going to take a look at the recolor version. Now again, we get from the Championship Clash set, that being Nightmare Longinus, Destroy, but now in gold. And I love this color. Again, compared to the previous version, everywhere where it was this clear and blue has now been replaced with this really flashy gold. And I like how they even colored the middle gold, which is really cool. I like how they changed it from the silver to the gold. And personally, I actually like this version better, because the gold, if I can get in the position here, looks really, really nice. So there you go. And again, the same gimmick still applies, where when you click it, the heads will move, and it will get increasingly stronger because of the change in weight until it bursts. And we do also get to see the Destroy Driver as well in its nice gold color. So very nice to see. So yeah, there you go. Nightmare Longinus, really cool Beyblade, and I love this gold version. So, and before I move on to the next Beyblade, I'm going to quickly read your comment art bricks, what you're saying here. You are making some custom clones with paper decals by simply gluing them on. Oh, nice! Are you doing that for your Lego stop motion video? Again, when you finish with it, do drop me a link in the video description, and I will give it a watch, as that should be good. As I do like those kind of stop motion things, even though they are kind of notorious for getting a lot of hate online. Which is quite a shame, because, as you said yourself, is that they're very hard to make, and it's a shame that people hate on them just because, oh, they're so childish, oh, they're so this and so that. I mean, I'm 18 and I still watch the stop motions, but, you know. Anyway, enough of my teenage ranting. Let's get back on to the main topic here, that being the next Beyblade here, which is from the Godler system again, and again is one of my favorite Beyblade designs. I love this thing. That being Shelter Regulus. Now, Shelter Regulus is based on Regulus, which Regulus, if you don't know, is one of the major stars that comprise the Leo constellation. So really nice to see this Beyblade, and it looks really, really cool. So Shelter Regulus is obviously enough based on a lion. Again, harkening back to the whole constellation of the Leo constellation there. So do it like that. And as you can see, I love how the R in the middle of the chip is stylized to look like a lion's roaring mouth and its mane. I really like how that looks. Unlike compared to the Ragnarok previous designs, where is this really supposed to be an R? This one you can actually see is an R, which I really do like. So the whole gimmick behind the layer here is that it has this mode changing gimmick. So when you first launch it, these little claws, which is kind of hard to show here on camera, will come out. Now as you can see, the heads do move as well, and the claws will extend and retract. Again, it's really difficult to show on camera because I do have to put some force into actually getting it to activate, but it is still a really cool gimmick that it does do that. Oh, and also to preface that Shelter Regulus is a balance type. The Kukulkans are an attack type. I keep forgetting to do that with these last episodes. Let's see, what did I miss? Satan's still a defense type. Valkyrie's still an attack type. Garuda's a stamina type. Let's see. The Shadow Dark Killer Death Scyther is I believe it's a balance type, oddly enough. Actually, no, it's stamina. And then the Brigade is defense. So there you go. My apologies. But back to Regulus again. I really do like this gimmick. I think this Beyblade is really nice. But my one issue with this Beyblade is that the slopes suck. So, yeah. But not exactly the best thing there. So, and again, as I said before, this is balance type. So, really nice to see. No, with this Beyblade, we also do get to see the return of the 5 and star frames. Which, wait, have I shown off star yet? No, I have not shown off star yet. Oh, wait, yes, I have. With, what was it? Duo Eclipse. So, same thoughts apply here to the star frame. I do like it. And obviously enough, is shaped like a star. Which, again, harkens back to the constellation, basis of the Beyblade. Which is really, really cool. I do like that. And we do get it, again, in this nice green. And lastly, we do get to see the driver here, which is kind of interesting. This is called Tower, and Tower debuts in this nice purple color. And the whole gimmick behind this is that when you launch it at first, the tip will retract, thus causing it to be smaller, and the claws on the layer will extend. But as it slowly slows down, the tip will go back to its normal tall state, and the claws will retract back. So it's kind of like a reverse reboot driver. So, kind of weird. But still, really nice gimmick. In the Japanese, it basically doesn't do very much, but here in the US, it actually does do well on other combos. But on Shelter Regulus itself, it doesn't do very well. So, there you go. So I do like Shelter Regulus. Very cool Beyblade. Now again, I wish I had the Karatomi version because that one is slightly better. But because, again, it was released in another random booster, it's pretty difficult to get a hold of. So don't expect to see a review of that one. But at the end, I will show you pictures, again, of all the Japanese Beyblades that I can't get a hold of for various reasons. So there you go. So next up here, we're going to be taking a look at a left spin stamina type here, which we looked at before, but this is its original version. But this in particular is the recolor from the Championship Clash set, so take that how you will. Let's get right into it. This is Drain Fafnir, the original version. Again, same thoughts still apply here with the previous recolors, but again, for comparison, we're going to bring in my original version, so you can see the difference between the two layers there. Very nice to see. And next, we're going to bring in the other recolor I have. So there you go. So really nice to see, and we do get it again in this nice gold and silver and this kind of blue color, which does look very nice, and we also get the green chip there too, which harkens back to the original color version. So there you go. And with this Beyblade, we do get to see the original debut of the 8 disc, so very nice to see. Again, we did get this upgraded later with the 8- disc, who we're going to take a look at next, again, with its evolution. And we also do get the driver, again, its debut version of nothing. In this case, it's in this nice silver color. Same thoughts still apply. Nice button gimmick. So nice to see. So there you go. There is Drain Fafnir. Very nice Beyblade. And again, one of the best left spin stamina types to get. So next we're going to take a look at its Cho-Z evolution, that being Geist Fafnir. Now Geist Fafnir, obviously enough, let's bring in the original version again for comparison. We can see just how much it changed. I mean, wow, this thing took a drastic change here. So, just now, the actual gimmick of this layer as well in the Japanese is that it would have metal on these wings here, if I can get into frame. So all of these would be metal, but sadly on this version, because, again, it is Hasbro, they do not have the metal there. And also, this would also be rubber, which in this case, it's actually plastic, but it has these little grooves on it to actually make it somewhat have some absorbing properties, which in combination with the weak slopes on this particular release, don't make it actually as good as it should be. So the whole gimmick behind this is that when you push the heads, just like God Valkyrie, they will close in. And then when you let go of them, they spring back out. So there you go. Very nice gimmick there on Geist Fafnir. So very nice to see. Next, we do get to see the debut of the 8 disc, which in this, when the Japanese release, you would get separately the, what is it called? The proof frame. But on this particular version, we don't get the proof frame because it's Hasbro and we don't get the proof frame, you know. Kind of a bummer. But nonetheless, if the camera would focus, it is still nice that we got an upgrade to the 8 disc. If the camera would focus. Focus. There we go. So you can see it there. Very nice to see. And then lastly, we do get the new driver, which is, if I can clean it off a little bit, is called, what's it called again? Why can't I remember what this is called? Absorb. There it is. Came to me. Absorb. So Absorb is a very nice driver here. It basically does the same gimmick as Nothing, as the camera would focus. So as you can see, it does have this little spring-loaded cap here, which actually is very, very tight. And actually, it does have little interlocking teeth. I don't know if you guys can see that. On this top disc, there are teeth there. And at the bottom, which you can actually lift it up there, has the teeth there as well. So the whole gimmick is that when it's in battle, and when this gets pushed down far enough, the teeth will lock together, thus creating, and actually I have to put a lot of pressure to actually get this to work, because the spring on the Hasbro one is really, really tight compared to the Japanese. It makes it go into a semi-attack mode, where the flat tip of the inner tip there is exposed, thus making it move more aggressively. Oh, and also, it also doubles as a shock absorber, so there you go. Now, with this particular version, you would also get the slingshot gimmick, which is pretty simple to do. Those little notches here on this little plate, that when you line them up with, if the camera would focus, arrows on the drivers, you can see these little arrows when you line them up. You can put it into a slingshot mode. So there you go. Obviously, it makes the tip more flat, makes it move more aggressively, and because of the free spinning kind of nature of it as well, it can kind of absorb attacks as well. So there is that. And to turn it back, you just line the notches up again with the little arrows, and then push down. And there you go. You'll get a nice satisfying snap out of it too. But it's quite nice. So there you go. There is, what is it again? God, why am I forgetting the names of this? Fafnir, there we go. Fafnir. So very, very nice. And just like previous Chosy Bays, you can also use the level chip on it as well, if you happen to have it on hand. Which I, for one, don't, because they are stupid expensive. So, there you go. So, let's see. So, next we're going to take a look at the Hasbro version of Bloody Longinus, which is going to be shown right here. So, there you go. Now, in the Hasbro, this was retitled to being Brutal Luinor, because obviously Hasbro doesn't want to mention anything related to blood, gore, or anything like that. So they changed it to Brutal Luinor. So there you go. Now, unlike this Japanese version that I showed before, that's very, very colorful, this one is very, very dull. I mean, excuse me, my god, this thing is dull. The purple gem is gone, the details on the heads are gone. It's just kind of poop. Oh, and also on top of that, no metal either. So just really, really crappy. So there you go. So if it isn't obvious by my thoughts, I don't like this version. Why did I get it? Because I thought it would be decent. And also because I'm a kind of a completionist for Hasbro, so I had to get it. And yeah, it's kind of crap. So yeah. But also you can put level chips on it as well, which is basically going to do nothing with a Beyblade that already kind of sucks. So there you go. So next up, we're going to take a look at the disc, which we have seen already with Archer Hercules, but I believe it actually debuts in Longinus here. We get the 13 disc. Same thing as the Karatomi. Focus. Focus. Focus, camera. Focus. There we go. So you can see that there. Looks very, very nice. And then lastly, we do get to see the Japanese version, not Japanese, US version of the Jolt driver. Now, as you can see, obviously enough, the rubber and the nice plastic color are now gone. The rubber spikes are now replaced with plastic spikes, and the tip is now just a flat tip with the design of the star tip on it. So, kind of bad there. And again, the slingshot gimmick is pretty simple. You just twist the driver, pull up, and then lock it. And there you go. That is the slingshot mode. Basically, the only difference it does is basically add some height to it. So, there you go. And simply enough to undo it, you just twist it like that, lock it back up, and there you go. And then just do the reverse to put it back in slingshot mode. So there you go. Not really much to say about Brutal Luinor, other than it's nice that we got it in the US, but if you really want a good Beyblade that actually performs well, don't get this one. Don't do it. Don't be like me. Don't buy it. It's garbage. So there you go. So that's my thoughts on that. So next up, we're gonna take a look at another Chosy Beyblade with probably the most weirdest, probably with the most odd and just bizarre gimmick of the bunch, which we're gonna get into it right now. This is Vice Leopard. So Vice Leopard is an attack type. And in the Japanese, which again released in a random booster, why does Takara Tomy keep doing this? This would all be metal. All of this big silver part would be metal. And just like previous Beyblades, you can use this with level chips. So there you go. And the gimmick with this, again, is just so weird. So you see these little teeth here on the leopard faces. When it's attacking, what it does is it will lift it up using the power of springs. It will lift it up, and then it will clamp down on its opponent, sort of biting into it and kind of shaking it around, which in practice doesn't work as well as it does in the anime. So, but still, really interesting gimmick in and of itself. That it's a literal vice that clamps down on Beyblades and causes them to burst, which in practice, in the actual toy form, does okay enough, but not nearly as good as it is in the anime. So there you go. So really nice to see Vice Leopard there. And Vice Leopard, obviously enough, is based on, well, a leopard. Nothing really much to say there. Although oddly enough, the leopard actually has like this kind of electric ability it uses as well in the cartoon/anime. So there's that too. Very nice to see. And with this Beyblade, we do get to see the return of the 12 disc, which debuted with Winning Valkyrie. So there you go. Focus. And it's in this nice kind of silver color, as it should be, because it's metal. just raw unpainted metal. So there you go. Nice to see. And we also do get to see a new frame with this. This is the lift frame. So the lift frame features a similar gimmick to turn. Which is you can turn it, there's two ways you can apply it to the Beyblade. One is in this configuration. This is the defense mode of it. So as you can see, the plastic part is pointing down, thus creating a more defensive characteristic to its performance. However, when you undo it, flip it over, now the spikes are pointing up, and you take the little tabs, which are right there, line them up with the disc, click them in. Now it's in its attack mode. So there you go. Very, very nice to see. So, there you go. That is the lift frame. That's the whole gimmick of that. And in practice, it actually does relatively well in battle. And then lastly, we do get to see the return of the Destroy Driver for the second time in the entire toy line. This time being in this nice blue color. And again, this is a slingshot version. There's the camera will focus. There we go. So you can actually do the slingshot gimmick, where if you line up the little arrows over here and here with the little slots here, you can pull it up and you can put it in a slingshot mode. So there you go. And then do the reverse to put it back normally. So there you go. So very nice to see. Really do like Vice Leopard. Again, really bizarre and out there gimmick, and just a really interesting looking Beyblade in general. Because again, when this was revealed, I honestly thought this was fake. I honestly thought that this was fake until I actually, looked it up and actually saw it on like Amazon's website, the listing for it, and I was like, okay, this is actually real. But even still, probably one of the weirdest Beyblades to come out of Beyblade Burst. I mean, my god. I mean, who thinks of a gimmick like this? Like a Vice clamping down gimmick. I mean, just so weird. But there you go. There you have Vice Leopard. A really out there attack type. Now moving on to the next defense bay, which is the Hasbro version of a previously shown off Takara Tomy version. We're taking a look next at Emperor Fornius. Now this is the Hasbro version, and the name is still the same as the Japanese. So there you go. So for comparison, here we have the Takara Tomy version. So you can see the differences in color there. So again, with Hasbro, there is no metal on this one, like on the Japanese. No stickers here, 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 and here. Little green, little dash line stickers. No stickers on the, what am I missing here? Oh, no stickers here on the bottom either. On the bottoms of like the shark bodies. The mid-range of the, well, kind of like the mid-base of the tail part of the shark. So there you go. And no green core either. So, yeah. Also, slopes on this one are just really, really bad. And just like I said before, and I'm going to repeat it again, you can use level chips on this Beyblade as well, if you have them. So there you go. And next we will show off the Zero disc, which again, this was the second debut of it. This is just the Hasbro version. Which, same thing as Takara Tomy, really nice heavy disc. So nice to see. There we go. Very nice. And next we do get to see the return of the yard driver. This time in this really odd lime green compared to the original version's kind of dark neon green, which you can see right there. So you can see a difference in color there. And just like the previous version, previous Slingshot Bays, it does feature a slingshot gimmick, which is kind of hard to do, where you twist it and then you're supposed to pull up on this little plunger, and that will put it, in a slingshot mode. There you go. So there it is in slingshot mode. So obviously enough, the plastic ball is now put inside, and now it kind of, well, it actually moves around a little bit, I mean, you can see, but the ball kind of moves around a little bit in the little column there. But even still, it is now flatter and can now move a lot more aggressively. And to put it back normally, you just twist it, push it down, twist it again, and now it's back in its normal mode. So there you go. Nice to see the return of the yard driver there. But there you go. That is Emperor Fornius. Very nice Beyblade. Now moving on to the next tray, which is over here. I'm going to be taking a look at some recolors to start off this next thing here. So we're almost at the end, people. Almost at the end. This has been a very long mini-series. My God. So first off, we're going to take a look at a recolor of a previously shown off balance type, that being Gigant Gaia. So as you can see, just like the previous version I discussed before, and just like I mentioned before, where the colors are flipped, I wasn't kidding. Again, here's the comparison there between the two. So you can see where it is red here, it's gold, and where it's gold here, it's red. And it also has the silver. So there you go. So again, same thoughts apply here with the previous one. So very, very nice color scheme. I do like the red. I love this gold. And I like the red speckling as well. And I do like the G there for Gigant Gaia there. Oh, and also there's the nose part right here of the helmet is actually picked out in red as well, which is really, really cool. I really do like that. So there you go. There is Gigant Gaia. Very, very nice layer. And next, we take a look briefly at the disc and driver, which are the same as the previous version. We do get a return of the quarter disc. So there you go. Same thoughts apply there. And we also do get to see the fusion driver in the exact same color. So there you go. Really, really nice. So, really nice version of Gigant Gaia. So, really do like this Beyblade. Looks really nice. Next up, we're going to take a look at a couple more recolors, starting with this guy. This is the stamina version of Valkyrie from the Burst Flare system. So, for comparison, we're going to bring in the original Valkyrie. So you can see the difference between these two. Not very much difference, except now where it's yellow here, that instead of it being yellow at the top and fading into red at the bottom, now it's red at the top, fading into yellow at the bottom, which I do like. And also these parts are now red instead of yellow. So again, because of the weak slopes, I did modify this, so there you go, just so you know. And we do get the spread and survive driver in this nice blue, which is nice to see. So there you go. So that is that. Now moving swiftly along to the next one, which again is also modified. We have the original color version, well, not original color, the original English color version of Valkyrie. Victory Valkyrie in this case. So again, let me bring in the Avatar Attack version so you can see the difference between those two. So very, very nice. Now this was before they actually started coloring the wings, which there is one particular version I'm actually looking for online, and basically it's Victory Valkyrie, same bay, except now it's red. It has this like white kind of silver coloring on the wings, and it actually has like these black and red lightning bolts going on the wings, which looks really, really cool. But again, that version has been becoming increasingly more difficult to find, so if I can get it, I will definitely get it and show it off to you guys, because it's really cool. And it kind of comes in like a parts pack too, so that's kind of nice as well. But anyway, back to this Victory Valkyrie, looks really nice. And again, we do get to see the boost and variable drivers. Well, driver and disc, this time in a blue color. And it's kind of dirty, so I'll clean that off real quick. There we go. A little bit of hair on it. There we go. Focus. Focus. Focus on it. There we go. You can see that there. So nice to see. Next up, we take a look at another remake bay. This one is, again, a balanced type, and this is, again, from the plastic generation, as I just said. And this is, again, one of my favorite sort of first versions of these kind of remakes, that being Drigger S, also known as Drigger Slash, if the camera would focus. There we go. So Drigger, obviously enough, is based on a white tiger, which is really cool. As you can see, we do have the tiger heads at the top and the bottom, and these are kind of like the fearsome claws coming out, which looks really cool. And on the what's it called? The little bit chip here, or the, what's it called? What was it called again? Not the bit chip. What was it called again? Oh god. Why am I struggling with the name of this part? Oh god. Anyway, basically on the little front plate here, we do get to see the avatar or the beast for Drigger there, which looks really, really cool. Again, it's very small, but I'm surprised at how much detail there actually is for a Hasbro Beyblade. It looks really, really nice. So there you go. So you have that. Now, lastly, we're going to take a look at the disc here. And this is going to be the last Beyblade for the episode because my phone's about to die. So there we go. So there we have the heavy disc. Again, same thoughts apply here. Very nice. And we're also going to take a look briefly at the driver as well. This is Fusion, but again, in just a gray color. So nice to see. So really nice Beyblade there of Drigger. Really do like it. And one of my favorite remakes that actually made it to the States. Really nice to see. So there we go. Now actually, that is not going to be the last Beyblade because you know what? I'm actually going to do one more here before my battery dies. So I might have to make this one a bit quick, but even still, I'm not going to leave it off at just that. I'm going to leave it off with just one more because I'm a nice guy and that's what I do. Anyway, moving along. Next I would take a look at, this is a stamina type here, and this is called Jail Jormungand. So Jail Jormungand is based on the Jormungand, a giant world-consuming snake in Norse mythology. And as you guys can see, obviously enough, you can see the snake heads there, breathing fire. And you can see their little spines going down into the tails on each of the snake bodies that you can see right there. Very nice to see. Now, this is the Japanese version. I do have a US recolor that we are going to look at later, but this is the original Japanese version. Now, interestingly enough, there actually was another version of this released in a random layer booster initially, but it had a totally different name. It was called Jail Jormuntor, but in this full release, it changed the name to Jormungand, so I'm safely going to presume that there was some kind of translation error there, so very interesting. Oh, and also we can also see the nice little insignia there for Jail Jormungand. I'm assuming that's supposed to be some kind of J, but doesn't really look like it. But there you go. And again, this is stamina type, so really nice to see. And with this, we do get to see a reissue of the Infinity Disc, so very nice to see. And also we get a new driver with this Beyblade. This is called Cycle. So Cycle, obviously enough, has this free spinning plate here. Now the free spinning plate basically functions similar to like the loop driver and stuff, where when it hits the plate, it's supposed to help it recover stamina, and it's supposed to help it knock itself back up to a stable position. And it comes in this really nice kind of translucent yellow, and the disc actually spins much more freely than you would expect, but even still, it functions really, really well. So really do like the Cycle driver. Now I did see this again later in a multi-pack and it has a dash version, but that one is very, very hard to get, so do not expect to see a review of that because that is a very hard piece to get, Cycle Dash. But even still, really nice Beyblade here. So there you go. So alright guys, that is going to wrap it up for part 5. If you guys want to see the next part 6, then please make sure to let me know in the comment section below. Make sure to leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it. And make sure that if you're new that you subscribe and that you obviously like, subscribe, and turn notifications on so that we don't miss my videos.